Hi, I'm Alicia with Plant Addiction in East Central Pennsylvania, Zone 5B, 6A. In today's video, I want you to succeed with your grow lights. Light is such an important part of growing houseplants. When most of us fail, it's due to light and watering issues most of the time. So if I can take out one of those factors and help you master it, then that will be one less thing you need to worry about. And then you can focus on other issues that need to be fixed. Okay? I'd like to make a disclaimer saying that I am not an expert. I'm a plant enthusiast, and I am explaining what has worked for me. I have been growing houseplants for more than a decade. And believe me, I've had my fair share of killing plants. And just so you are not a plant killer, okay? It just means that you need to hone in on the specifics of each plant. So the first thing I tell you to do is to research your plants to find out whether they're low light plants, medium light plants, bright high light plants, or full sun plants. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do. But I want to make it clear that there really aren't too many, a few, not too many, low light plants that will exist and thrive and grow in low light. There are a few, but most of your plants will do the best in medium to high light. Now, this does not mean direct sun. This video is for people that have no windows at all in their rooms or have windows obstructed outside by other buildings, or say you have covered porches, so you're not getting that much light coming in through those windows. So we all have to rely on artificial lighting in some form to help our plants to stay alive and grow. Well, that brings me to my other point. A lot of the low light, so-called low light plants, okay, are ones like your pothos and your scindapsus and your ZZ plants and all that. Yes, they survive in low light. But if you want your plants to flourish and grow and thrive, you need to get them into at least medium light, okay? Or higher, depending on your species of plant. A lot of your grow bulbs are not producing enough intensity light, or we're only putting one light bulb on your plant, and this makes it almost very low light for your plants. We think that it's very bright. However, your plant is not seeing the same things that we are. We see light as very bright sometimes, and the plant is hardly seeing any of its usable light at all. For instance, if you look behind me here, you can see on the bottom shelf, the light is a lot brighter than the top shelf. Well, on the bottom shelf, I have my Phalaenopsis orchids. The lighting that's here looks very bright to us, but this light is not sufficient. Even though these are a medium to low light plant, this light, yes, they're flowering. Yes, they have lots of leaves, but this light is not sufficient for them. And I found this out the hard way when I started growing my orchids, and I noticed the leaves were very dark green. They were long and strappy. I'll put a picture up for you. And then you'll also see where when I changed the light to much brighter, that the new leaves that grew in were nice and rounded, like an orchid's leaves are supposed to be. They're supposed to be a little elongated, but they're supposed to be more round, not long and strappy. And they're also supposed to be a lighter green. So this is what tells me that these orchids are not getting the amount of light they should, even though this is a huge amount of light. This is 5,000 lumens coming from this light, which is very bright to us, but not to the plant. Now, this up here is 3,000 lumens, and this is considered for low light plants. Now, I do have a couple highlight plants here, a few, but I rotate them out. And I'll explain that to you in a moment. But this is not enough light even for low light plants either. Okay, so it all depends on your color temperature and the intensity. So, and I have these strip lights. I'm not talking specifically on strip lights. I'm going to show you them as an example, but you can use the regular round bulb lights, things like that, as long as you get the intensity and the color correct. Now, talking about color, you want to get daylight bulbs. And this is strictly for house plants. So if anybody's tuning in for your gardening plants that you're bringing in or things like that, that produce a lot of flowers, these ones work fine for the flowers here. However, some of your gardening plants like roses and things like that, they're not going to do as well indoors, okay? Those really require more red light spectrum, more for the full spectrum. They're going to need a lot more of that with higher intensity. It is possible, but you're going to need a lot more light and a lot more lumens to do that. And speaking of lumens, plants don't really care about lumens. All right. We use the lumens as a way for us to measure the light intensity. So to make it simpler, so I can give you an exact formula that you can follow, I'm going to be speaking in lumens. However, the lumens relate to your PAR, and it's very technical, your PPID and stuff like that. However, I'm going to stick with lumens just to make it easier and less complicated. So speaking of that, I buy these. Okay, I'm not sponsored, just so you know. I buy these strip lights because I found these to be, I have so many house plants. I find these that make a good coverage across, so I can have many house plants of the same type, that needing the same type of light, that it covers a bigger area for the least amount of watts. So my electricity bill isn't crazy. And also has the color that I would like. So I'm going to put some pictures up on the screen here, of the close-ups of some of the things, the specifications on here. So you want to get a daylight bulb. I'm going to turn this to the side here. A daylight bulb with a color temperature of about 5,000 to 6,000. That gives you a nice equal balance to some degree. It's more bluish than the reds, but it's what most house plants are going to need. And I'm talking your green, lush, greenery type plants. They're going to need those colors the most. Is what is going to help your plants to remain bushy and not become leggy. Okay, so you want to start with your color. The color temperature is usually on the side of your boxes. Sometimes it's on the front, and it has the K after it. So 5,000 to 6,000 K. Some people go as high as 6,500 K, and you're getting more blue light there. Sometimes it works, so you might want to fiddle around. And it does, like I said, you don't have to get these as long as you get other bulbs, any kind of bulbs that have this color temperature. But the trick is the intensity. So also on here is your CRI of 80. That tells you how high or low some of the intensity is of the colors and balance of it. You want a minimum of 80. If you can get it higher, that's even better. The other thing you want to get is, you want to pay attention to, is your lumens. Okay. Was I having this upside down the whole time? So your lumens. I don't know if I had it upside down. I'm sorry if I did. I apologize. Your lumens is what's really important as well as your color. So the lumens you need is going to tell you how intense your light is. All right. So here is your formula that I want you to follow, and you're going to notice a huge difference. A lot of people, they're overwatering and underwatering, and a lot of that ties into how much light they're receiving. So if you get the lighting right, you can then rule out lighting as the problem. And then you can focus on other issues, like, maybe you are watering too much or not enough, or maybe it just doesn't like the area it's in. The humidity, possibly. or the temperature in the room. Okay, so this has 5,500 lumens. That's how much this is down here right now. 5,500 lumens you would think would be enough. It's not, even though this is considered a medium to low light plant. So what you want to do with your low to medium plants, you want to have a minimum of 8,000 lumens. Okay, so your medium plants, it's going to depend on if you have lower plants, the low light plants, you're going to want to have the light further away, just slightly, than your medium light plants. So you're going to want 8,000, minimum of 8,000 lumens. Well, this is only 5,500. So you're going to need two. This is what it looks like in the box. It's one of these, okay? You're going to need two of these. Two of these is going to give you enough light for even your medium to high light plants. So what you want to do is, this is how you do it. You get two of these, you put them up over your plants, and your medium to high light plants, you want to have closest to the light. Like, let me explain it to you. You want to have, my grow lights are under here. I don't know if you can see that right here. So your medium to high light plants, more on the medium side, okay? You want to have them as close to this light as possible. Your medium and low light plants, bring it down a little bit. And here's the thing, I think, oh, well, that's wasted light. Well, here's the thing, most of us want our plants to grow. Your plant is gonna grow. So if you put it down there, you're gonna have to keep adjusting it, which is fine if that's what you wanna do and you don't have a lot of plants. But a lot of people like to mix different plants together like this. So this way you can have medium plants mixed with low plants. Put your medium plants closer to the light and your lower plants that are like this down lower. You can also raise them up if you need to. Say you say this, well, this is more of a medium to high light plant, but if I wanted to, I can raise this up by putting something underneath of it and raising it up. So that's one way to do that. The other thing is, so your low light plants, you want to start with the 5,000. And I'm talking, when I say low light plants, I don't mean pothos. I don't mean pothos. I don't mean scindapsus. I'm talking calathea, ferns, not even your Rex begonias, believe it or not. Your begonias are going to want the medium light. That's when they're going to flourish. If you're having trouble with your Rex begonias, because I know I did, I killed so many begonias, I can't even tell you. And I was like, well, they're in low light. I thought this would be plenty of light. It wasn't. It wasn't. They died. They didn't grow. They didn't do anything. They sat there and eventually they rotted. Even though they would wait until the soil was completely dry, they would rot. And it's because there wasn't enough light. The minute I put them in brighter light, and technically it's considered medium light, as soon as I bumped them up to the 8,000 mark, all of a sudden they started throwing out lush leaves, getting huge, big. Now, I want you to keep in mind, more light means more water. That doesn't mean you have to give it more water. It means you need to water more frequently, and you may need to give it a little bit more depending on how much it's drinking up. So you always check your soil before you water it, because it is going to change how much water and how frequently you're going to need to water. Okay, so give them more light. If you give them more light, they're going to be happier. You may have to water a little bit more or more frequently, but in the end, you're going to end up with those plants that you always wanted, and the reason that you bought them and brought them home to your house to begin with. So if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. And also, I will be coming out with more videos in the future on exact watering techniques I use, and also outdoor gardening videos. Thank you.